I'm already annoyed with myself talking about this, and I haven't even started talking about it yet. Hey, what's up? Hello, I am Aubrey Lene. Welcome to my side of the internet, and today we're going to be talking about how I think I could single-handedly fix Bad Cinderella, the musical. Now, for some context and for a little disclaimer, I have no hatred, no negative energy towards the actors, the technicians, the producers, any form of the production team from both the West End and on the Broadway productions. So it's kind of common knowledge amongst my friends that I am not the biggest fan of Bad Cinderella. However, I love watching people review the show. And I personally have not seen it myself. I live nowhere near New York City, nowhere near England to see it in the West End. These YouTube channels, I wrote them down in my notes so I can tag them right. Mickey Jo Theater, Kayla Says, Ashley Norm, and Harry James Miller. These 4 channels, plus a few more, have given me the best insight on this show and getting to know a good storyline of what happens and the reviews and what's wrong and what audiences are struggling to understand with Bad Cinderella. So I did take the time out of my day, one day, to watch a slime tutorial about it. So I do have a general understanding of the show, but today I'm going to talk about why I think I can fix it. And this has been on my mind for weeks, and I'm genuinely convinced that put me in that writing room and I will single-handedly fix Bad Cinderella, and it'll stay open on Broadway and have no issues and everyone will love it. For some disclaimers, obviously the show is exactly how the writers and producers intended it to be, and audiences just aren't receiving it the way that audiences in America aren't receiving it in the intended way, and audiences in the West End enjoyed it while it had a cut run and all the issues with that. Again, you can watch Mickey Jo Theater's videos. He does a fabulous job having a chronological timeline of everything that has happened in the last year with this show. But now I'm going to talk about why I think I can fix it, because it's just an easy fix and I think they missed something. So some of these perimeters for the fix is I can't change any characters, can't change any songs, and I can only change the plot points, because I think that's the only issue with this show. Now, I have my notes here so I don't forget my thought process, but I went through and I broke down each of the major plot points of the show, so we're gonna go over those now. So some of the major plot points in Bad Cinderella, if you haven't seen it, this is your explanation, but again, watch any of those channels I mentioned earlier. They do a fabulous job explaining kind of in detail how the show goes about. Is that this town, Belleville, that Cinderella, Bad Cinderella, lives in, has won this trophy for the last 49 years about being the hottest town. And it's pretty much the pivotal factor of their economy is that they are the hottest town, and they have such a bustling, money-filled economy because they keep winning this trophy. On the day that they're supposed to win for the 50th year in a row, the hottest town, the town is going to unveil a statue of Prince Charming, who has been missing for about a year. And when they unveil the statue, it has been vandalized, and the whole town is like, we know who did it. It was Bad Cinderella. Cinderella, after that, goes to sing her title song, Bad Cinderella. And then after that, she gets tied to a tree, and Prince Sebastian, Prince Charming's younger brother, who has been friends with Cinderella since they were kids, comes and unties her, and then they have some sexual tension, and it's really interesting. A next major plot point is the Queen's song, which is Man's Man, and the Queen of the Stepmother song, which is I Know You, and these are 2 major songs that progress the plot. The other songs that happen in between tree tying, Man's Man, and I Know You, I personally think are pretty just like filler songs, especially when Sebastian and Cinderella are together. But Man's Man is the Queen basically saying, Sebastian, you're kind of a loser. You have to get married because it's what a man would do to save our economy because we didn't win this trophy. And this whole economy plot line is a thing that never is explored more. And then I Know You is the stepmother going to the Queen being like, I know you and we were prostitutes together, so you're gonna make sure Sebastian marries one of my daughters. So those are pretty big plot points. Next is the godmother scene, and obviously this has to be like a big deal at Cinderella. If you're going to see a Cinderella story, the godmother is a character. And in the musical, the godmother is only featured for about 7 minutes in her song and a half. So the godmother in Bad Cinderella in the town of Belleville is a plastic surgeon who makes sure everybody in the town looks really hot. And this will be explored later. So I think it's a major plot point. Next is the ball, which Sebastian isn't happy. He's waiting for Cinderella to show up. She shows up after getting plastic surgery. He doesn't recognize her. The queen says, just kiss the girl you want to marry at midnight. And then the stepmother shoves Adele, Cinderella's stepsister, to Sebastian to kiss him at midnight. So then they're betrothed. The wedding is a huge plot point, and you would think this would be like the turning point of the show, but it's not. The ball is. So the wedding is happening. Sebastian, unfortunately, is about to marry Adele. Cinderella's trying to stop the wedding. She's on her way, but instead of Cinderella stopping the wedding, Prince Charming, who everybody thought was dead, returns. He's like, I ran away because my mom needed me to get married to someone I didn't love. I'm gay. Here's my boyfriend. And then the whole town celebrates. So why did he run away in the first place? We'll never know. And then it's happily ever after at the end. So those are the major plot points of Cinderella. That's not deep diving into the story, but those are the main things that are hit throughout the show to make sure it progresses. Why does Cinderella have so many mood swings? Because at the beginning of the show, she's like, I'm Bad Cinderella. I don't care what they think of me. I vandalize the statue of the dead prince because it's funny. There's no reasoning behind it. And then she meets Sebastian. She's still really cold to him, and she continues to be cold to him until after the ball. And then she like sings this heartbreaking ballad. Carrie Hope Fletcher did a fabulous job singing it. That's the one I choose to listen to. But Lynette Janau, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry if it's not. Also does a fabulous job. She says like literally can't. It seems like Cinderella doesn't know who Cinderella wants to be, and it seems like there was 5 different people writing this character, and so each scene you're getting a different version of what they thought Cinderella should be, so it leaves people pretty confused. Okay, I mentioned this earlier, but I'm gonna say it again. The fact that the economy is so heavily impacted by winning this like hottest town trophy, and this is like a big thing, and that's why the marriage needs to happen so that they get more like press, but then it's never brought up again. And you never see an impact on the economy.
So clearly the lack of talking about the issues within the Belleville economy was a really passionate issue to me when creating this video and scripting it out. However, when I got to the part of rewriting the plot for the video, I failed to talk about the economy failing as well, which is really odd because that was one of my big things that I felt was lacking within the show. So after this part here, I never talk about it again, similar to the actual production of Bad Cinderella. So I guess you're getting your own experience in this. And I thought about cutting it out, but I was really passionately enraged with it. So enjoy.
Because of the town not winning the trophy. Like, it's just mentioned. It's never like brought to fruition of what's actually going to happen because she vandalized this statue. And then after the vandalism, which is genuinely in the first 10 minutes of the show, she's not bad anymore. She's just Cinderella. Like, it's just another Cinderella story. After the vandalism, she doesn't do anything like horribly atrocious. And you're saying this is like Bad Cinderella, like the unconventional story, because she's like a feminist and banana. She doesn't do anything bad. She doesn't do anything out of Cinderella worthy after that. After that, she's just like, I kind of want Sebastian. And then Sebastian doesn't kiss her at the ball. And she's like, boo-hoo, I'm going to run away. Like, that's whatever. So now we need to get to what I think Cinderella should be. Okay, so I've moved over. I'm going to put on the screen right here my, you know when you're in elementary school and you have to make those charts of, like, the plot points? So this is the Cinderella, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella, Bad Cinderella on Broadway, what the show's plot actually is. Cinderella vandalizes the statue, and then Cinderella and Sebastian meet at the tree. Next, as we grow in the rising action, we have Man's Man, where, as I explained earlier, the queen is like, you kind of suck, Sebastian. Then we have Sebastian and Cinderella meet again. Sebastian invites Cinderella to the ball. She's like, I don't want to go. Marriage is for losers. And then he's kind of sad. Then the stepmother gaslights Cinderella and is like, you didn't want me there in the first place. And then she gets sad. Then we have I Know You happen, and the stepmother goes to the queen, is like, your son's gonna marry my daughter. That's the point of this whole thing. And the queen's like, okay, whatever, I don't really care. Next, we have the godmother. This is right before the turning point. Then it's the ball, and I Know I Have a Heart. And I say this is like the major like plot turn because it's Cinderella, like, at least in the way it's being described, on the stage, she says lyrics such as, I was fine on my own, made of steel, heart of stone. I know I have a heart because you broke it. And then she goes into being this more cold and malice person. I don't believe that happened, but I think that was the intent. After that, we have Cinderella goes to her stepmother and is like, just pay me to run away, I'll leave now. And she does. So she's gonna leave. Marie then has her reprise where she's like, we could have been friends, go crash the wedding. Cinderella decides to go crash the wedding. Then Prince Charming crashes the wedding, says, this is my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Sebastian gets the necklace from the godmother, and then happily ever after the end, it was just another Cinderella story. Now, the moment we've been waiting for. How I believe I could fix this show. And so I'm gonna go through my plot points now, and then I'll compare them after. So the way I think that the show would make sense with the title Bad Cinderella, we're gonna go off the Broadway version because that's the current running version. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella closed, they had changes, and now it's Andrew Lloyd Webber's Bad Cinderella. So we're gonna go being perceived as Bad Cinderella. I believe that the show should start same opening. The town has won this award for 49 years in a row. This is a big part of their economy. They're all hot. We know that, right? I feel like there could be a line added into the song about how they have this like secret reason why they're all hot, because the godmother explains like, I'm the reason everyone's hot when Cinderella goes to her, but we never really get any premise of her beforehand. So I feel like that'd be a cool thing to add. Then I think the stepsister song where they're singing about how it's unfair that Cinderella's their sister and they're so pretty, but she's not, and all this, whatever. I think unfair should go after the opening song instead of the statue. And so this is still, we haven't met Cinderella yet. This is, the town's like, we're all hot. The stepsisters are like, we're hot. Cinderella's not, and she kind of ruins our lives. Then we can meet Cinderella, go through the whole plot point, her being like, you guys kind of suck, beauty, like, you don't need to be hot just to have a good personality. Cool. You know, she can just be like, I'm not like other girls, because she's not like other girls, she doesn't need a man, right? Then we should get Man's Man, where the queen is like, Sebastian, you're kind of a loser, you know? And the town doesn't have to win the trophy at the beginning, because that kind of sets off the whole thing. They could just live their lives normally. So yeah, they don't win the trophy for whatever reason. The queen needs to throw a ball. Man's happens. She calls Sebastian a loser. Next, we have our first Sebastian and Cinderella interaction. And I think the fact that like in the original, she's tied up to the tree when they first meet and he's coming to get her. And then they say a lot how they haven't seen each other for years and years and years. But they like missed each other. I feel like them meeting at the tree should be like a normal occurrence. And so him meeting her at the tree is like, this is their thing. So Cinderella probably brought something for them to do because they meet at this tree a lot. And then Sebastian is like, you're so oblivious. Like, I have to get married. Technically like the second meeting in the original be the first one. Next, we have the interaction with the stepmother and Cinderella and Sebastian. It can be the same thing. Stepmother comes outside. Sebastian's like, what's up? She's like, ah. Then we have I Know You. For me, we're about to reach the turning point in the show. And I think Marie's reprise, which normally happens after the ball, should happen here. Because somewhat like Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, but not exactly, when the second stepsister gets kind of abandoned. I feel like something like that could happen where the stepmother's more favoring Adele and saying like, Adele, you're going to be the one who gets married. I have this whole arrangement, and Marie feels sad. So after Marie's kind of been outcast, so she says to Cinderella, like, we could have been friends, blah, blah, blah. Here's what you should do. You can wear my dress, blah, 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 blah. Cinderella goes to the ball. The ball happens, same plot points as normal. Like, Sebastian doesn't recognize her because she's dressed up and she said she'd never do that. Then we got the Adele push for the kiss, and then I Know I Have a Heart. All of that can stay the same. But however, I know I have a heart when she's like saying the line, I said this earlier, but made of steel, heart of stone. I know I have a heart because you broke it. This is when she should become Bad Cinderella. This whole time she's just been Cinderella, and implying, when you say there's Bad Cinderella, it's implying that there was a good Cinderella. Now she's Bad Cinderella. She's had this turning point of, he doesn't actually care about me. He's the same way. So now she goes to the godmother. And I think having the godmother be after the ball puts that twist on the story that I think Andrew Lloyd Webber and his team were looking for, where now she's she's tried her best. She goes to the godmother. Instead of the godmother turning her into this beautiful creature, she's turning her into Bad Cinderella. She then gets the crazy hair. She then gets the crazy costumes and crazy makeup. And I think that would be a cool thing to see. I'd want to see that happen of, oh my gosh, she experienced this really traumatizing thing. Her heart is broken. She's so sad. Now she's going to go do something about it. So after the visit to the godmother, then it's the wedding. So pretty much the same thing as normal. We're just lacking the Marie reprise, which would normally happen right there after I Know I Have a Heart. And the wedding's the same-ish. Sebastian's really sad because Cinderella didn't show up to the ball, or he knows she did. He's sad that he didn't recognize her, and he doesn't want to marry Adele. So while this whole wedding thing is gonna be stopped, Cinderella, I think, is out fighting Prince Charming. And then she brings Prince Charming to the wedding, stops the wedding. That whole thing happens. I have a boyfriend, here's my man's, they get married, the whole town rejoices because Prince Charming's back and Sebastian doesn't have to be their king. After that, I think Sebastian and Cinderella should have some sort of scene where he sees this like, Bad Cinderella, no, this isn't you, and kind of gets really upset at her because she's completely changed herself after the whole ball event, which is something she never said she would do. So at that point, Cinderella runs away, as in the previous one. This is just happening later now. And when she runs away, Sebastian runs to the godmother, finds the heart necklace, brings it to her. And this is when, now that Prince Charming is back, the town has arranged to have a statue of him. Instead of at the beginning, it is now at the end. And when this happens, Cinderella's really mad at the royal family because Adele and Sebastian, the Prince Charming situation of there has to be like dialogue and plot points. Nothing's gone right for her because of the royal family. So now we get this whole unveiling ceremony where there was a thing over the statue. Everybody's rejoicing, ready to see this lovely statue of their amazing king. And it's unveiled and it's been vandalized. And then we get the title song, Bad Cinderella, because everyone hunts her down. And she's like, I don't care anymore. And that's where the show ends. Everything just got swapped because I think in what we're getting in the current staged version of Bad Cinderella, we're getting a lot of Bad Cinderella at the beginning and a lot of normal Cinderella at the end. But I think with my version, my fixed version, this has a better flow of how Cinderella like reaches bad and why she has the emotions that she has. And it also helps the audience to understand her more. And once again, I just want to have the disclaimer. The show that is currently being staged is obviously what the production team, what they all wanted the show to be. They're all obviously happy enough with it that they put it on Broadway. This is just my opinion based on what I've seen in reviews and what I've seen in a slime tutorial and what I think I, as an audience member and a common theater goer, and other audience members who aren't common theater goers would understand. It'll also help younger audience members who go in expecting this to be not their normal Cinderella story have a different view of what Cinderella can be, and being independent being okay. I think her not ending up with the prince at the end is okay. So yeah, those are my unsolicited thoughts on Bad Cinderella or Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella and how I personally think I could fix it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it down below because it really helps me out and it boosts my ego and I need an ego boost. Also, comment below your least favorite musical ever. And not to say I don't enjoy the music of this musical. I do. I could listen to it if I wanted to, but would I go out of my way to? Probably not. So yeah, make sure you comment that down below. I will see you guys again very soon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Smooches!